We're going to walk through the stroke selection exercise. I'll go to File, New, and pick a decent size. If you want to do 1, 2, 4, 7, 6, 8, that's fine. The bigger you go, the longer things will take, but that's up to you. Okay, so pick a solid brush, not one of the crazy looking ones over there. For what we're doing today, I would pick size the same as whatever stroke you pick, but that won't be important for a little bit. Let's go ahead and go to the Elliptical Select tool up here. And I'm going to draw an ellipse up top. I'll also make sure I'm set to black and white over on this side. All right, so when I go to edit, near the bottom there should be a one called stroke selection. And that's literally going to take something and just go around your selection. So whatever you have selected, when I hit stroke, it'll stroke that selection. So what I'm going to do is make a slightly bigger ellipse down here that almost touches both sides of the screen. It's near the bottom. This one on top should be like, I don't know, like half, but centered. Somewhere around there. Well, I'll have different looking hats, so that's okay. Edit, stroke, right? Same place as before. Now, in the future, if you use this tool, you may want to stroke with a paint tool, which means that you have tweaked the way that the brush works, the different dynamics, the kind of brush you're using, yada, yada, yada. So that's what this one is for down here. We're going to stay up here on stroke line, and we're going to make sure that the width is whatever width you pick, but we're going to make our brush the same. So I'm remembering mine's set to 6. You can keep your 6, or you can mess with it. Okay. I'll click here to deselect. Select none is another way to make sure nothing is selected. So if you have something selected, the next step is not going to work. So if you say select none, you should be safe. So I'm going to go find the pencil, not the airbrush, okay, and not the paint tool. All right. So when I have the pencil selected, if you don't see this, if you see something else like the layer dialog, when you double click the tool, that should go back. Anyway, all right, so I have a solid brush. I want the size to be 6, right? So I'm just going to type a 6. I feel that's easier than trying to mess with the little bar thing over there. And then I'm going to click carefully on the edge of the top ellipse. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and notice when I do that, I've got this line thingy following me around. So I'm going to also hold down the Command key and see how it locks it to, I think, increments of 45 degrees. I'm not sure. Anyway, that makes it easier to go up and down itself. Then I'm going to click. And I won't let go of the keys on the keyboard until I click with the mouse. That might take a few tries. It's a little awkward at first. And don't do what I just did. Go halfway down. I'll do that again. So I'll start right on the edge. Okay. Now I'm going to hold the Shift key. And I'm not going to let go of the Shift key until I'm halfway down the hat. Now I'll click. And now I'll let go of the keyboard. All right, so again, that might take you a couple tries. It's a little awkward at first. Once you get it, it's not so bad. Now I'm going to click on the other end. Okay, I'm going to click and let go. Now, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to hold the Shift key down. Okay, so we'll get a little practice doing this new skill or whatever it is you want to call it. All right, next thing we need to do is get rid of this thing in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just go grab a white paintbrush. You can mess around with the eraser, but I would do so another day, or maybe after the exercise. I'm also going to make the size quite a bit bigger, just because it makes things easier, and I'm going to paint over that line. Remember Command Z, so if you go whoops and you erase half your hat, just undo. Okay. So let's carefully. All right. Well, and then. This one, here we go, that's better. All right, cool. All right, well, I'm going to be picky. You do not have to be picky. I hope you're not picky. Well, I hope you're kind of picky in the future, but not today. I'm going to hit Shift ++ and zoom in so I can get extra silly about how crazy I'm getting to this line, which you do not need to worry as much about. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to hit Shift-Command-J, which is another thing you don't need to remember if you don't want to. That just snaps your zoom to the screen, no matter how big your screen is. Okay, so if you zoom way in and you're like, oh, where'd my picture go? And Shift-Command-J is a great way to zoom back out. You can also go to this little zoom dialog down here, and let's get back on task. Okay, so I'm going to grab the magic wand, okay, and I'm going to grab the top part of the hat. So now the top part is selected. That can be disorienting if you're not used to painting software. So now if I grab a brush and I'm trying to paint over here and it's not working, well, that's because only the top part is selected. So when I paint, that's all I'm going to see. I'm also painting white. It doesn't help me see anything. Once again, I'll demonstrate. Paint down here, nothing happens. Paint up here. And so the point is only the top of the hat is selected. All right, undo. So the top of the hat's selected. If I do anything, it's going to mess with the top of the hat. What I need is a gradient. I know we used textures last time. This time we're going to mess with this gradient tool. So right between the bucket and the pencil is something that's very different from theme to theme. So mine looks like a purple diamond with, I can't tell what's there. Anyway, the gradient tool's changed a lot from theme to theme. I think I just said that, I'm sorry. Then I'm going to find a good gradient for the top of the hat. You can use the presets. If you're feeling brave, go ahead and make your own gradient today. So I'm going to pick, I guess like blue and computer. I'm going to pick blue. I'm not going to pick blue apparently. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to pick, oh, that was silly. I had black already. Oh, whatever. All right, blue and black. Okay, so now I get like a shadow effect. And my gradient will be the one that says custom or foreground and background. I'll do foreground and background. My foreground's blue, my background's black. See how that works? All right, now I'll try a gradient this way. I'll just draw a line across the region I selected. Or I'll try a gradient this way, maybe. Never mind. When you draw your gradient, notice how there's this thing over here. All right, so to make the gradient apply, hit the Enter key. Okay, and it should stick. All right, but if I try to draw a new gradient, all right, so it drew a new gradient, but the same region is still selected. So to go grab the next region, guess what I'm gonna have to do? All right, so back to the magic wand after you've hit Enter. All right, and click on this region. Now we have the bottom part of the hat selected. Now let's go back to our gradient tool. Draw a nice long line. I don't like how that looks. I'm going to do that differently. Nice long line. I don't like how that looks either. Nice long. How about just top to bottom? There. Oh, the top part of the hat is still selected. So when you've got that magic wand thing, this one right here says add to the current selection. That was not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to say select none. This one says subtract from the current collection. That's even more confusing. What you probably want is replace the current selection. So if you don't have this first one selected, that could account for why you have too much stuff selected, which I did. All right, now I'm going to say undo, 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 undo. There we go. All right, and I'm going to make sure I have the magic wand. Replace the current selection. Click on this one. Now the bottom is selected, the top is not. Let's try this again. Dunk, there's a gradient tool. And dunk. Okay, no. Yeah, that makes it look hollow, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't want a hollow hat. I mean, they're kind of cool, I guess, if you're a magician or something. But I'm gonna go there. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna run with that. All right, Enter. Let's keep that. Now, lastly, I'm going to grab the background. So either select none and then I do it, or just make sure you've got this replace thingy. And either way, background. Okay, now let's pick something else for the background. I'm going to go back to those easier gradients because I want something really stripey. 1, 2, here we go. Yeah, that's loud. And I can mess with the bands a little bit too. When you've got the gradient tool, go ahead and grab these and play with them. And you'll very quickly get a feel for what they do, I'm sure. Whatever, hit Enter to keep it. And save it and export it, upload to Google Classroom. Thanks for watching.